What's up, world? This is Coach J here, coming to you with another parent tip on this beautiful Thursday. Hope that you're doing something exciting, something fun. We're in a new month, the month of November, so let's go ahead and kick this parent tip off. Just want to talk to you a little bit about clear communication and giving clear directives as it relates to the instructions you give your children or your child. It's very important to be very clear and very specific when you're giving directions and when you're communicating with your child, especially if there is a particular outcome that you all have in mind. And the thing that you want to do is always check for clarity and understanding. So if you give a directive to your child, make sure that you ask them to repeat what it is around the directive that you are giving them so that you can be sure that they understand, and also give space for them to ask any questions. Also, the importance of being clear when it comes to communicating and giving directives is that it helps young people navigate tasks and responsibilities more effectively. When young people are clear about expectations, when they are clear about what they cannot do, what they must do, they tend to execute more effectively. They tend to take on tasks more effectively. So again, don't allow your child to just walk away from a set of directives and not check for clarity, because it's a possibility that they're gonna come back and may have not executed and got the right outcome because they missed a piece. Maybe they didn't understand something, so always check for clarity. Another thing to keep in mind is that clear communication reduces confusion and frustration, right? Because again, if they go execute something and they don't do it right and they come back, it's going to be frustrating, right? They may end up having to get a consequence because they didn't execute something right. They may end up getting something wrong because they didn't get the instructions clear, and it creates confusion. And so again, being clear around your communication, being clear around the directive, but also checking, making sure they understand, making sure they have the clarity that they need is going to decrease frustration and confusion. Another reason it is important to be clear when you're communicating is that clear communication and directives empower young people to make informed decisions and take responsibility for their actions. So if I'm telling my son X, Y, and Z, and I'm very clear using the right language, and then I have him to repeat what it is that I say or the direction I give to make sure he understands. When he goes out and execute and he doesn't execute well, he cannot or she cannot blame me as the parent. They're more apt to take responsibility because they can't say, well, I didn't understand, because you checked for clarity, right? You asked if there are any questions that you have when you gave the directives so that you can make sure they had the clarity that they need. And then the thought around making informed decisions is that when you are clear, when you communicate very clear, you spell it out very clear, then they can go out and use that directive to make whatever informed decision they need to make, whether it is a directive you're giving them around how to interact with peers, how to conduct themselves in public, how to conduct themselves around adults. Like, they can use the set of instructions, directives that you give to make a informed decision. Like, they have all of the information that they need to either make a right decision or a wrong decision. And again, whatever decision they make, they have to take responsibility for, because you have been very clear as a parent with communicating and giving directives. Lastly, the final thing is clear instructions and directives build a sense of autonomy in youth. As a parent, at some point, you want your child to operate interdependently. You want them to operate and have some freedom to make decisions and to learn safely. And the more clear you are early on when it comes to your directives, the better you can gauge if they're ready for a certain level of autonomy because of the way that they go execute your directives, execute your instructions. So if you can trust them to go out and execute whatever parameters that you have put in place, whatever morals that you have taught, whatever example that you have put in place, then you're more likely, at a particular age to allow them to have some autonomy around certain decisions and things that they want to see show up in their life. So again, when it comes to giving instructions and directives, it's important to communicate and be very clear when you're working with your children, whether they are teenagers or teenagers. Be very clear in the instructions. Always check for clarity and have them to repeat what it is as it relates to the directions that you're giving them, so that you can know clearly that they understand and they have no questions about the expectations. Because if something happens, they have to take responsibility, because they can't come back and say, well, I didn't understand you. I missed something. I didn't hear you correctly. I'm telling you because I'm living this experience each and every day. And we know that children and young adults are not going to be perfect, but I'm also sharing this information as a tool to help you not experience some situations by being very clear. So make sure, if you're a mentor, teacher, leader, coach, parent, make sure when you're communicating with young adults to be very clear. Also check back for clarity and have them to repeat the instructions, so that you can know without a shadow of a doubt that they understand what is expected of them. This is the parent tip for today. I hope that you can take something away from this as a parent. If you're a young person and you come across this video, my feedback to you, my advice for you is that if you do not understand any set of instructions that are given to you by any adult, any adult figure in your life, ask for clarity. Say that you don't know. It's nothing to be ashamed of if you don't understand something. It's best to ask them to repeat it or ask for clarity, so you can get it broken down in a way that you can understand it, so that you can make that informed decision, so you can make the right decision when you're going out executing. Peace out. Coach J gone.